Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive on something a little different.
Yeah.
50 emotional journaling prompts
Okay.
from a blog post we found on lestallion.com.
Interesting.
Yeah, we talk a lot about journaling for, like tracking events, but this is about emotions.
Right.
So going beyond what happened
Yeah.
to why you feel the way you feel about it.
It's all about self-discovery and really
Understanding yourself.
understanding yourself better.
And your emotions.
Yeah, and how that can influence your choices in life.
Right.
Your behavior.
And lestallion.com has these prompts broken down into different categories, which I really like.
That's great.
So there's a section on understanding your emotions,
Yeah.
exploring past experiences,
Okay.
managing stress, and navigating relationships.
That's a lot.
It is.
But a roadmap.
Yeah, like a roadmap to emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
which is important
It is.
because it really plays a big role in our well-being.
Our mental health relationships, even success in your career.
So where do we even begin?
Well, they have it broken down into these categories for a reason.
Okay.
So let's start with the first one.
Yeah.
Understanding emotions.
All right, so one of the prompts that stood out to me from this section was, what emotion have you been feeling a lot lately? Seems pretty simple.
It is simple.
But do we ever really ask ourselves that?
Probably not as often as we should.
Right.
Because we kind of go through life.
On autopilot.
Yeah, just reacting.
Without really understanding them.
So this is like taking our emotional temperature.
Yes, exactly.
What's going on?
Just noticing it.
And once we figure out what that dominant emotion is,
Then what?
well, there's another prompt that says, what situations or people tend to trigger this emotion in you?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So you can identify patterns.
And triggers.
Yeah, which can help you develop better coping mechanisms.
So instead of just reacting impulsively.
Right. You can be like, oh, I know this is going to make me feel this way.
Exactly.
So I can choose to respond differently.
And you'll be more prepared.
I like that.
Yeah.
Another one that stood out to me was, think about a time you bottled up your feelings.
Ooh, bottled up. Like we've all done that.
We all have.
At some point.
What's the cost of that, though?
Yeah. I mean, for me, when I bottle up my feelings, they tend to come out in other ways.
Like how?
Like maybe I'll get snippy with someone I care about.
Yeah.
Or I just feel overwhelmed and exhausted.
You would even know why.
You don't know why. It's
Yeah.
just like this underlying tension.
So it's like trying to keep a beach ball underwater.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. You can only do it for so long.
Right, and then it explodes.
Exactly.
With even more force.
So expressing those feelings is really important.
Yes.
And that doesn't necessarily mean like having a meltdown every time you feel something.
It's about finding a healthy outlet.
Right.
So whether that's writing, talking to a friend,
Yeah.
maybe some kind of creative expression.
But getting those emotions out is so important for our well-being.
Yeah, and you'll feel lighter.
So to recap from this first set of prompts, understanding your emotions, identifying those triggers,
Yes.
and finding healthy ways to express your feelings.
Those are the big ones.
Yeah, so becoming more emotionally aware.
Yeah.
And having agency.
I love that word.
Over how we respond to our emotions.
And once we have a better understanding of our emotions, then we can start to explore how past experiences might have shaped those patterns.
Ooh, no, that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive into the next category. Exploring past experiences.
Let's do it.
Uncovering some emotional baggage.
Oh, we all have it.
We all have it.
We can't deny it.
And it's easy to think that our past is behind us, but those experiences, especially the ones that are tied to strong emotions,
they influence us.
Yeah, they really do.
They influence how we see ourselves, how we interact with the world.
So one prompt that comes to mind is, think about a childhood memory that brings up strong emotions.
Okay.
I feel like even insignificant moments from our childhood,
they can have a lasting impact.
They can.
I mean, think about like being teased on the playground. That could really affect your self-esteem.
If you don't process those emotions.
Right. And so revisiting those memories and reflecting on how you felt
can help us understand how they might be shaping our present-day thoughts and behaviors.
It's like connecting the dots.
It is.
Between your past and your present.
Another one that's really powerful is, what is one emotional wound from your past that you haven't fully healed?
Ooh, that one's deep.
This one might sting a little bit.
It might, but it's important.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge those wounds.
If you ignore them,
They don't just go away.
no, they fester.
They fester and they influence your choices
Yeah.
in ways that you don't even realize.
And so acknowledging them is the first step towards healing.
Yeah.
And healing doesn't necessarily mean forgetting or even forgiving.
Right. It's about understanding the impact of those experiences.
And finding ways to move forward in a healthier way.
To integrate those experiences into your story.
Okay, last prompt from this category.
Okay.
What is one limiting belief you hold about yourself that stems from a past experience?
Ooh, that's a good one.
We all have those inner voices that say we're not good enough,
Not smart enough.
not worthy.
We're not worthy.
And those voices often come from past experiences.
Yeah, like a critical parent,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a failed relationship.
Or even a childhood bully.
Yeah.
So by identifying those limiting beliefs,
And where they came from.
you can start to challenge their validity
Yes.
and create new empowering beliefs that support your growth.
I love that reframing.
Yeah.
Instead of just focusing on the negative.
Right. We're not defined by our past experiences.
Exactly.
We have the power to choose how we want to move forward.
And sometimes that involves taking a closer look at how those past experiences might be contributing to your current stress levels.
Okay, so now let's talk about stress.
Managing stress.
It's a fact of life,
It is.
but I'm always looking for better ways to handle it.
Me too.
So let's unpack some of these prompts that are geared towards stress management.
Let's do it. So many good prompts in this section.
Yeah, like this one. What emotions do you feel when you're under stress?
Ooh, interesting.
Because it's not just stress, right?
Mhm.
Like for me, I get anxious.
Yeah.
Or irritable,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes even sad.
Yeah, it manifests differently for everyone.
Exactly.
So it's important to pay attention to how stress is affecting you.
And then if we can figure that out,
Yeah,
we can come up with our own personalized coping mechanisms.
exactly.
So another prompt says, what activities or practices help you to de-stress and regain a sense of calm?
Oh, that's a good one.
So it could be anything, right?
Yeah, exercise,
Meditation,
spending time in nature,
reading a book,
listening to music,
taking a nap.
anything that helps you relax.
It's about finding what works for you,
Exactly.
creating your own little stress-busting toolkit.
I love that.
And this one kind of goes along with that. How do you prioritize self-care when you're feeling emotionally drained?
Oh, self-care is so important,
It is.
but we often neglect it,
We do.
especially when we're stressed.
Yeah, because we feel like we don't have time for it.
Right, but it's essential
It is.
for maintaining that emotional balance.
So even if it's just for a few minutes,
Yes.
do something for yourself.
Recharge those batteries,
Read a book.
take a bath,
Listen to music.
go for a walk,
Anything.
anything that makes you feel good.
And it's funny because all this talk about self-care and stress management
Yeah.
really ties into the next category of prompts.
Which is?
Relationships.
Okay, yeah.
Because our relationships can be both a source of stress
Right.
and a source of support,
They could be both.
depending on the dynamic.
So these prompts are all about exploring those dynamics.
Yeah. And understanding how our relationships impact our emotions.
I like that.
So one prompt that really got me thinking was, how do your closest relationships make you feel emotionally?
That's a good one.
Like, do they lift you up?
Or bring you down.
Right.
It's important to be honest with yourself about that
It is.
and to make sure that the people you're surrounding yourself with
Or good for you.
are good for your emotional well-being.
Another one that I thought was really helpful was, what is one emotional boundary you've set in a relationship?
Boundaries are so important,
They are.
but they can be hard to set.
Especially with people we're close to.
Right, but it's about protecting your own emotional space.
Yeah, and creating healthy relationships.
Exactly.
Any tips on how to set those boundaries?
Well, you have to be clear,
Mm-hmm.
calm, and consistent.
Okay.
Start by identifying your needs and limits.
What am I willing to tolerate?
Yeah, and what are you not willing to tolerate?
Okay.
And then communicate those boundaries.
To the other person.
Yes, in a straightforward and respectful way.
And what if they push back?
Then you stand your ground
You have to.
and be prepared to walk away.
Wow, that's powerful.
If they can't respect your boundaries,
Yeah.
then they don't deserve to be in your life.
You know, as we're talking about boundaries and healthy relationships,
Yeah.
it makes me think about communication.
Oh, yeah. Communication is key
It is.
in any relationship.
And LaStallion.com actually has a whole
Oh,
section
really?
on effective communication prompts.
That's awesome.
So let's dive into that a little bit.
All right.
One prompt that really stood out to me was, what are some communication patterns you've noticed in your relationships?
Interesting.
So taking a step back
Yeah.
and observing how you interact with others.
Are you passive?
Aggressive?
Do you listen to
Or
understand?
just to respond
It's all about becoming aware
of our communication patterns?
so we can start to improve them.
Yeah. And another one that I thought was really insightful was, how do you handle conflict in your relationships?
Conflict is inevitable.
In any relationship.
It's how you handle it that matters.
I like that.
It can either strengthen the bond.
Or weaken it.
Exactly.
So lestallion.com has some prompts for dealing with conflict.
Like what?
This one. What are some healthy ways to express anger or frustration in a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
So it could be using I statements,
Okay.
taking a break when things get heated,
Mm.
or even seeking professional help.
Yeah, like a therapist or a mediator.
Yeah.
It's about finding constructive ways
To communicate your need.
and work through those disagreements.
And, as we become more skilled communicators,
Yeah.
we also develop our emotional intelligence
Which is the foundation.
for personal growth.
It all ties together.
It does.
Which brings us to
the final category.
personal growth.
I'm excited about this one.
Me too.
So these prompts encourage us to reflect on our values
Our goal.
and our aspirations,
And to identify areas.
where we want to grow and evolve.
Love it.
Yeah, it really is amazing how these all connect.
Mm-hmm.
Like understanding your emotions,
Yeah.
exploring your past,
Managing stress.
yeah, relationships, communication.
Personal growth.
It's all connected,
It all ties together.
like pieces of a puzzle.
Exactly. And, one prompt that really stood out to me in this personal growth section was, how has grief shaped you? Powerful question.
It is.
Because
Yeah.
grief, it can really change your whole outlook on life.
It can. And we don't always talk about it,
No, we don't.
but it's a universal human experience.
It is, and it comes with so many emotions.
Sadness, anger, confusion.
Even relief sometimes.
Yeah, and this prompt really encourages us to think about those experiences of loss.
And how they've made us who we are.
Yeah, acknowledging the pain,
Mm-hmm.
but also recognizing the strength that comes from those challenges.
Yeah. Grief can teach us so much.
About ourselves,
About our relationship.
and it can foster empathy.
Yes, connecting us to others who have experienced similar losses.
So another prompt that stood out to me was, what is one emotional habit you picked up in childhood that no longer serves you?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it makes you think.
We all have those habits that
Yeah.
we've been carrying around since we were kids.
But they might not be helpful anymore.
Right? Like running outdated software.
I like that.
It might have worked then,
Yeah,
but it's time for an upgrade.
exactly. So this prompt is all about identifying those patterns.
And figuring out how to change them
Yeah.
to create a more fulfilling life.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of my own family,
Okay.
like I've always avoided conflict, which is something I learned from my parents.
Ah, I see.
But I'm realizing that it's not always the best approach.
Right, because it can actually lead to more tension
Exactly.
in the long run.
So I'm trying to challenge that pattern.
It's great that you're recognizing that.
Yeah, it's a process.
It is.
But these prompts are helping me
to become more aware.
and to start making those changes.
That's the power of journaling.
It is.
It's not just about venting, it's about gaining insights
Yeah.
and empowering yourself to create positive change.
So powerful.
It is.
All right, last prompt before we wrap things up.
Okay, hit me.
What small act of self-love can you do for yourself today?
Ooh, I love that one.
It's such a good reminder.
To be kind to ourselves.
Yeah, self-love is a practice.
Not a destination.
Exactly. It's the little things.
Taking a bath.
Spending time in
Of
nature.
saying no to things
Yeah.
that drain your energy.
It's about listening to our needs.
And honoring them.
And it's funny how self-love really connects back to everything we've been talking about.
It does.
Like understanding our emotions.
Eliminate stress.
Yeah, relationships, communication.
Personal growth.
It all comes back to treating ourselves with kindness.
And respect.
It all starts with us.
It does.
Well, I feel like we've covered a lot today.
We have.
I'm so inspired to keep exploring these prompts.
We too.
And keep learning more about myself.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
Right.
Talk to a friend, a therapist.
Get support.
Yes.
And for those of you who want to see the full list of prompts,
You can find them on.
lestallion.com.
That's a great resource.
Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive
It's been a pleasure.
into emotional journaling.
Until next time,
Keep exploring
keep growing.
and keep diving deep.